Welcome to Charlene's Kitchen. We're going to make some chicken Vesuvio. Welcome to all my friends that like to cook. And today I thought I'd make some, well, as I was putting it together, I thought, it sounds a lot like chicken Vesuvio. And I'm making it only with chicken legs. Okay? So I really got some dandy chicken legs, very meaty. And I thought, I'm going to do this with some lemon and garlic and a little wine. So I want you to see. So now I just want to quickly give you the ingredients for that brine that I made. Okay? So I cut up 2 lemons in slices and I threw them in over the chicken. Of course, at least 2 teaspoons of salt and pepper, about maybe 2 teaspoons of pepper, teaspoon of paprika, Italian seasoning, and a teaspoon of that, some oregano, just oregano, a teaspoon. I had 10 cloves of garlic that I cut up and smashed and threw them into that brine. I did tell you the 2 lemons cut, yes, and okay. And then I added a teaspoon of parsley and a quarter cup of each olive oil, water, and wine. And I used pink Moscato and any kind of white wine that you have around that you like. Just put that in there. And also, I did say the olive oil. Okay, just stirred that off, poured it over those chicken legs and into a bag. I like a bag because I can turn it around, toss it around. We're in a bowl, it's somewhere up front and somewhere at the bottom, and it's easy. It's not easy to toss. So a nice freezer bag, a gallon bag is great, and then you can move it around and so that it kind of seasons up uniformly as possible, right? So we're going to get started. So here's the chicken, and you can see that what happened here is that I made a marinade, and I have had that. I put that in a bag overnight after I put it all together in this big bowl, and then I let that marinate, and your chicken gets nice and juicy and tender and captures all the flavors. And so now we're also going to add, how about this for color, huh? I love to show you and impress you on putting as many colors as you can when you cook. So we've got, I used 2 lemons that I cut up and I put it already into this, you might call it a brine. Yes, you would call it a brine. In that, then I'm going to put all these vegetables. So it's some potatoes, red potatoes, 2 sticks of celery, 2 sticks of, 2 carrots, 2 onions, and let's see, did I say the red potatoes? I had about 4 or 5 of those. And a red pepper and 1 orange pepper and the 2 lemons. I think that's how I started. I transferred all the chicken legs and all those vegetables, the potatoes, I tucked them in all around, the carrots, the celery, the peppers, the onions, and as for the chicken, that brine, I just poured that right into that roasting pan, my mother's roasting pan. Good Lord, she must have had that for 50 years. And I just love it because it's big and it's just the right depth. It's hard to find a nice big one like that. In fact, I wondered if I would be able to get it in. Well, anyway, that's how that looks, nice and pretty. So now that you see that all in this, yikes, is it heavy, in this roasting pan, I'm going to put it now into it. Actually, this didn't even take much time at all. I put that little marinade together in about 5-10 minutes, just to cut up the lemons and the garlic. And now we've tossed all those nice little vegetables, and it's all in one pan, and the potatoes. And I'm going to put that in the 425-degree oven for about 45 minutes. I'm going to check it at that time. I took the chicken out at 45 minutes, and it's going to have to be going back in at least for another 30, I think. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of this, which I always tell you how much I like it, the butter and olive oil with sea salt, you know, and I'm just putting that on top of this chicken. Just this, see how I'm just scraping a little bit off, and I'm putting it on top of those legs, just a little bit, for an additional flavor and browning. And you know, chicken Vesuvio is basically, it's lemon and garlic and oregano. And an interesting fact about this is that it originated in a restaurant on Wacker Drive in around 1939, and the place was called Vesuvio's. And supposedly they came up with this little recipe. And so now we put a little butter on all of that. Just, you see, like, just scrape it off just like that. Okay, just for a little more flavor. And, oh, I don't think, I didn't write down thyme. And I did put a teaspoon of thyme in it, okay? So, I didn't do that. But I want you to see this. See, it's getting brown. I mean, it's browning up. It's browning up. And if I go in here, it's got a nice sauce. But we want this to caramelize. So, and you see these chicken legs? They aren't little. See how big they are? I don't know if you could get a look at that. They're nice and meaty. And you know, people make chicken Vesuvio with all parts, wings, legs, back. And I happen to have these beautiful legs, and then I thought, I'm going to make it with, of course, it's one of my favorite, and I love thighs. And so, and if I did use a chicken breast, I can tell you that mine would be with the bone and the skin. And you know that it's hard to even find it. They all put out those chicken breasts with boneless and skinless. Who wants that? This is where the flavor comes in. This is what you're doing here. Now you're not even frying this up. You're roasting it. So it's wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. I mean, look at this little fat little leg here. Look at this one. Woohoo! Okay, so we're going to put that back in there. And we've got all those flavors going. So here we go. Back in the oven, 425 for another at least maybe 30 to 40 minutes. Look what happened to our chicken in another 30 minutes that we left it in. I left it in 30 more minutes, and look at, that's what I wanted. Nice and brown. We've got to plate that up and taste our delicious chicken Vesuvio. Now that that chicken was so nice and brown, I turned all those chicken legs around, you know, over, and I'm going to now add some chicken broth to that roasting pan, all the way around, all the way. I normally don't use chicken broth, but in this case, I'm not going to be boiling or anything like that. I'm just adding some more flavor at the moment that we need. I'm going to toss this about a little bit. I'm going to put this back in the oven for about another 10 to 15 minutes, you might say. Oh, guys, this chicken Vesuvio came out so good, and I am so happy about it because, frankly, you know what? I've never made this really before, and I want to tell you something. I put I told you about the thyme that I didn't tell you in the beginning, and I also used a teaspoon of rosemary garlic. Okay, so it's thyme and rosemary garlic. I didn't want to forget because I want you to know what I used. But anyway, the potatoes in this and the sauce all came out so wonderful with those peppers, you know, and everything. And you know what? You eat this chicken, do you have to have a knife and fork? I don't think so. Mmm. Mmm. Fall off the bone tender. And because they were marinated like they were, like these little potatoes, melt in your mouth. I hope you try my recipe.